Today we'll discuss some tips for you to use for your final exams. Mind you, these tips do not only apply for your final exams for English, but for French, German and Spanish as well, since they are compiled in the same way and require you to apply the same skill set. Check these and use them to your advantage in your preparations and on your final exams. First of all, it is important to have a large vocabulary. Having an extensive vocabulary makes it easier for you to understand the questions, the answers, and the texts. Besides that, you will have to spend less time on looking up words in your dictionary. Looking up words will cost you an average of 30 seconds to a full minute per word. Precious time when sitting your exams. It will also extend your knowledge of context. And most importantly, it will give you the confidence you need before taking your exams. If you have an insufficient vocab, you will have difficulty understanding approximately a third of the test, texts, questions and answers. This means that studying vocab is not a waste of time. Special attention should be paid to signaling words, as CITO questions often focus on your understanding of the structure of a text. What does CITO want you to be able to show? Well, first of all, that you recognize the main idea of a text. Second of all, that you recognize signaling words. Third of all, that you have the skill to scan a text quickly, and then you need to think of leaflets, letters, indexes, announcements, etc. And last of all, that you show that you are able to find important details from a text. There is a general set of steps to apply to the text that you have to read. Step 1. Look at the title, pictures, source, writer or writers, and possible subheadings. This will help you to get an idea of the main idea of the text and possibly activate previous knowledge on the subject. This will make it easier for you to understand the text as a whole. Step 2. Read the question. Keep in mind to work through the text per question and only read the bit of text that is actually required. Oftentimes, information from later paragraphs is used in answers to a question about a specific paragraph. This could possibly throw you off. In order to keep your focus, highlight the required bit of text. Step 3. Cross out the rubbish answers. Most of the times there are 2 answers that are clearly incorrect. Keep in mind to not read the entire text at first. Work through it based on the questions. If one of the questions about a text, and not the last question about the specific text of course, asks for information about a larger part of the text, skip it at first and answer that one after answering the other questions. There are different types of questions which have more or less the same type of steps. When answering multiple choice questions, go through the following steps. Step 1. Look at the title, pictures, source, writer or writers and possible subheadings. This will help you to get an idea of the main idea of the text and possibly activates previous knowledge on the subject. This will make it easier for you to understand the text as a whole. Step 2. Read the question. Keep in mind to work through the text per question and only read the bit of text that is required. Oftentimes, information from later paragraphs is used in answers to a question about a specific paragraph. This could possibly throw you off. In order to keep your focus, highlight the required bit of text. In answering your questions, pay extra attention to signaling words and colons, as the correct answers are often found near these. Step 3. Cross out the rubbish answers. Most of the times there are 2 answers that are clearly incorrect. Step 4. Do your final check. Are all parts of the answer correct? If not, the answer is not the correct answer. For example, in an answer the word often means something different than always. Also check whether the answer fits the main idea of the text. Some additional tips to apply. Do you not know the answer? Always guess based on the main idea of the text. Mind the answers that have a wrong signaling word in them. Do you have to give it a title? Again, go for the main idea of the text, as it asks for a summary most of the time. Shut off your own ideas. CITO will ask for things that can be found in the text, so what can you find in the text to support your answer? Questions about a sentence or a part of a sentence often have the answer right before them or after them. If a question requires you to mention 2 of something, look for a signaling word that is used for an uitbreiding. Keep in mind that most of the answers are to be found near signaling words and semicolons or colons. And this is why it is extremely important to know the signaling words and their functions. When answering gap questions, apply the following steps. Step 1. Look at the title, pictures, source, writer, writers, and possible subheadings. This will help you to get an idea of the main idea of the text and possibly activates previous knowledge on the subject. This will make it easier for you to understand the text as a whole. Step 2. Read up to the gap plus one additional sentence. You often need the information from the sentence before the gap or the sentence after the gap to be able to know which word to choose. Step 3. Keep the signaling words in mind. Step 4. Look at the tone of the answers. Are the answers positive or negative? And compare that to the tone of the paragraph. Step 5. Check whether there are opposites to be found in the answers. If this is the case, the correct answer is probably one of these. Do you not know the answer? Guess based on the main idea of the text. Every exam also has questions where you have to read statements and write down whether they are right or wrong or true or false, etc. First of all, read those questions carefully and use the wording they ask for. Furthermore, apply the following steps. Step 1. Read the statements. Step 2. Highlight keywords you want to look for in the required bit of text. Think of names, places, quantities, times, international words, etc. Step 3. Check the required bit of text for your keywords one by one. Once you finish reading a text and answering the questions, do a final check. What types of questions did you have to answer? Did you apply the right steps or strategies? Did you take notice of all the signaling words? Did you by any chance choose an answer of which you could have known that it was incorrect? And do your answers fit within the main idea of the text? It is key that you apply these tips in practicing for your exams. If you do this often enough, you will internalize the method of working, which will ensure that you'll do this on your exam as well. In practicing, find out what works for you and take that with you to your finals. Keep in mind that you will only start learning when you do something with your mistakes. If you make mistakes, look for the sentences or phrases that support the correct answers. This will eventually help you recognize the structures and question types better. Good luck.